I've talked about this before, so I'm going to try to come at it from a different angle because the last time I talked about this, both channels were a lot smaller than what they are now. My main channel, the hockey channel, passed 114,000 subscribers yesterday, and where I used to have videos to celebrate certain milestones, I don't really do those now because I don't really think that 114 is a number you have a big video celebrating. But there's something that's definitely changed along the way. And it is some stuff going on with YouTubers. I want to cover a little bit of that too. Jacqueline Hill, it doesn't look like it has any intention of reactivating her Twitter. And I mention this because we're on the topic of YouTubers. She has lost some subscribers. People have finally started unsubscribing, but not in the numbers you would think. And if you look her up on Twitter, it's really fascinating because you look her up on Twitter and you're going to have a lot of people saying, okay, she conned people. And then rather than do a recall of the product, so she puts out this lipstick that is not worthy of being sold at a retail level. And she's not doing a recall. She says everything's fine. The company, who is basically her, says 0.1% of customers were affected. And then all of a sudden they're like, okay, everybody gets a refund. Well, you don't say everybody gets a refund if it's 1 out of 1,000 that are complaining. So there's something not right there. And then she hasn't posted anything on YouTube in over a month. But the cynical side looks at it this way: if you deactivate your Twitter and your Instagram accounts, well, now nobody can unfollow you. And if you keep your YouTube channel open, you're still getting views. She's still making a lot of money on YouTube. She's making a ton of cash on YouTube. She doesn't have to do anything. Her videos kind of evergreen content, so she will get those views. She will get her money. She doesn't have to do anything. And the ones that I key on are the people who are steadfast defending her, and they're mostly the younger girls who believe she's been pushed into a corner and she said some things. Yeah, she might have lied, but she didn't really have a choice. And let's hear her out, even though we've heard her out and her stories didn't add up. And so we're stuck with basically some people saying we'll stick with her, and others saying she's a con. We're done with her. Forget it. Um, and YouTube drama's curious, but then you look at the mainstream media coverage of it and it's wrong. For instance, I was reading an article today about the James Charles beauty thing with his fallout with Toddy Westbrook, and it says, and James Charles' channel has never got back to the lofty heights with subscriber count that it was before the drama. He's only down about 100,000 subscribers from where he was before the drama. He's not down that much from where he was before. And if you look, he still makes pretty good money on YouTube. He's still doing pretty well. Just looking, I think he's got more than 750,000 views today. Today. So he's got enough views today that, that's about a week's worth on my main channel. It's insane. It's insane that I get 750,000 views in a week on my main channel. That happens is just crazy to me. And the numbers are insane, but for the most part they haven't been there, and yet when they were below that in a week, I was able to make enough money to support my family. So there's that. We talk a lot about reality shows and what's real and what isn't. And with YouTubers, there's some of that as well. And then there's the aspect, and I've started seeing this more lately. Now, people are going to say that's because, Shannon, you got more subscribers, there's more comments in the comment section. But there's more a sense of entitlement that comes in there. And what happens is that there are some people who may be very well intentioned that are saying, yeah, so your channel's got to this point. You have to change now in order to get further. Yeah, you're gaining subscribers. You're still that good for you. But if you want to get to where other channels are, if you want to get taken seriously, you got to change your complete format. Oh, you got to change that. Why don't you change it? Just change it. Change it. I've heard that for over 3 years. And I've heard the exact same arguments for over 3 years. But as the channel gets bigger, there's less a sense of, hey, why don't you change this? As sort of a creative idea, just sort of fun, hey. And it turns into, yeah, change this. And when I say I don't want to, they go, Yeah, well, you should. Because you know what? This thing you got here, it's all nice and everything, but yeah, it can all fall apart. So, before it all falls apart, you better change it. Because, if you don't change it, it's all gone. The idea that I've built to this point and now I need to panic and completely change things is crazy, because here's the problem. And this is where I'm going to make the statement that, I can't get all worried about those comments. There are so many subscribers to my channel who turn around and say, what we like about your channel is you seem like a guy that we'd sit and talk to at work, somebody we'd sit and talk to at the bar, just somebody we'd sit and have a beer with. You don't feel like other YouTube providers and creators. That was the idea at the start of the channel. I never sat down and went, okay, I got to be professional about this. Because if I wanted that, then when the channel started out, I wouldn't have been sitting on a blue couch in a crappy living room with Doctor Who posters behind me, and drinking pop and eating chips. I would have instead, got myself a nice desk. I would have made sure that I had a good setup first and really gone into it with, all right, I'm going to do all these graphics. I'm going to, get into all of this. And, when the whole graphics thing comes up, it reminds me of when, and I mentioned this before, when I was doing the whole eFed wrestling thing online, and my graphics were never quite as pretty as some of the other, online wrestling sites. But I made sure the content was really good. I made sure that the content was something nobody else was doing. I made sure that I was doing things that other sites weren't doing, so that people would go, on the surface they'd go, well, I like that better because it's prettier. And then, a couple months later, they might go, what they're doing is great looking, but man, what this site has, there's a lot of meat to this. This is a good little community they got here. I really like this. And so people who on the surface would go, well, I don't like this, would then come back 2 months later and say, can I sign up here? Can we talk? Because your graphics aren't as good as that guy's or that guy's, but your content's fantastic. So I've been reading it. I'm stuck reading it, and it's great. And it came down to just little things. And it was just a matter of approaching things differently than other people did, and I do that on YouTube as well. I don't approach things with the idea of, okay, this is gonna, and the other thing that's similar between YouTube and here, I wouldn't look at it back then and go, okay, this is gonna be just corking. This is gonna be better than what the other guy's doing. I would just go, so what works for me in this little group? What works for us? And then people would come in and join the community. I've talked about this before, but it's worth noting again, because the community on the Hockey Guy channel is 114,000. It's pretty big, and I'm still with the same mindset of, okay, well, here's what works for the little community. I don't see it as 114,000 people. I see that as a number on the screen, and I kind of ignore it. I look at hit counts. I look at how the channel's grown, and I say, well, that's nice. But I still do my videos as if I'm talking to my friends the same as I did at the start. So rather than approach it as, here's my show, I always approach it as, here's my video. Here's what I decided I was going to do today. That's why I do like historical videos that nobody asks for. There was a comment on the Hockey channel that I got a kick out of, which was nobody, ... and then a blank space, and then Shannon, ... here's the thing. And it's of the idea that in July, when nobody's talking hockey, here I am going, and here's what I've got in hockey for today. Here's the Hall of Famer I'm covering. Here's the history I'm covering. On this channel, it's kind of whatever's on my mind that day, like this, where I'll say, okay, I'm going to do a video where I'm going to talk about something a little bit different. The one thing that as the channel grows, and I've mentioned this before too on both channels, people may recognize me in public. They're a lot less likely to approach me than they were 3 years ago. 3 years ago, they'd actually approach me and say, hey, you're the one with that hockey channel, right? Yeah, I've watched your stuff. Good luck. Thanks. Keep up the good work. Now people are more likely to stare from across the room, kind of with like, is that the guy from, he's shorter than he looks on the internet, isn't he? That's his wife, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and there's a lot of things that as a provider, you kind of put yourself out there. creator, providing videos. Um, you put yourself out there in that, you know, I haven't been in the best shape lately because I make videos all day and I don't go very often. Now, this beast here, of course, I've been hitting that for 8 days in a row, and I'm down 7 pounds in 8 days. So I think that's pretty good, and I'm going to continue doing that. It involves changing your diet, it involves changing everything. But as soon as people see that I'm drinking diet soda, then that's got aspartame in it. But what people don't know is sucralose makes me sick. Sucralose makes me sick, and a lot of other artificial sweeteners make me pretty ill. So the idea of, well, you can't eat that, well then okay. So and then, well, just drink water. Well, I don't want to just sit and drink water all day. I like something that tastes good. It's sort of like, well, what's wrong with good old fashioned gruel? Just eat your gruel. Well, why don't I want to eat something that tastes good? So I was excited yesterday. We went by McDonald's. I got a new Cajun chicken wrap and found out that's pretty good on calories. Excellent. And again, it's about eating less and it's about eating smart, and some things I've learned along the way. But because I'm a public persona, because I have videos, there's an expectation. Most guys my age, we've packed on some weight since high school. Usually when guys get into their 40s, they've packed on some weight since high school. That's sort of how things work. I don't know very many guys my age that I look at, pictures on Facebook and go, wow, he looks better than he did in high school. He looks great. These last 30 years have been really kind to him. In many cases, I'm like, yep, looks good. Yeah, he looks good. But there's always sort of that disclaimer at the end of for their age. Now there are some that are in great shape, and there are some ladies who look tremendous well into their 40s, and I bear them no ill will. But they tend to be kind of more of the exception rather than the rule. So factoring this back into YouTube, you have an audience which, if you believe demographics, keeps getting younger. So you're getting more and more teenagers who walk around school and go, well, we're all in shape. Look at that guy on YouTube. He looks terrible. You know, and I'm eating less than those kids do, and still, right? The one thing that can be tough at times is ownership. The idea that, okay, so we've watched your videos and we've sat through ads on your videos. Now you're doing well. You've got a lot of subscribers. You kind of owe us now. We kind of own you. So we're gonna make that decision that we're gonna tell you how to do this. We're not just gonna say, hey, would you mind? It's more of a, hey, so this is how you do things. So if I change something in a video, if I say, I'm not going to use the same format I usually use, I'm going to change it. You're going to get people who go, hey, that's a great idea. There are going to be people as well as go, well, I don't enjoy it as much as usual, but that's fine. It's your channel. And then there are going to be people who go, you just absolutely screwed your channel. You just killed it. The funny thing is when people do that and they share that video, they'll be like, look what Shannon did in his recent video. I don't like this at all. And I actually see a greater subscriber gain on those days when people are angry than when people aren't. And it happens every time. If there's some kind of a controversial issue going on, there's more growth. And there'll always be people in the comments, I don't like this. Yeah, you killed it. This is why my videos don't have music and intros. This is why I haven't sat down killing myself to learn graphics. This is why I don't use green screens. And why would I get all of these jerseys to have a green screen? It makes absolutely no sense to have these really nice racks that have all these jerseys on for my main channel's videos and then use a green screen. So I got to cover all that up. Or on the green screen, I guess I could have an image of the jerseys that I'm covering up with the green screen, because that's a part of the identity of the channel and a part of the identity. It's sort of like whiteboards, and this got mentioned yesterday. It gets mentioned all the time. You got to move away from whiteboards. Okay, you gotta have everything, and you gotta go to graphics. You got to use graphics, and if you can use highlights, which of course are against the rules, it's copyrighted. Don't do it. And when you're making money on YouTube, don't start violating copyrights. And the worst that I do is show like a video clip on my phone. And I've seen people say, that's quaint that he's using his phone. Yeah, there's a reason. Because it's a heck of a lot less likely that somebody's going to go, copyright strike, look at that, look what he's doing. No. No. And it's a balancing act that we do. And it is a job. It's a job I enjoy. It's a job that's been the best job I've had. It involves tremendous stress because, again, you have all of these people who are going, hey, we kind of want this product. And if I shift that product for any reason, there's people going, like, for instance, when we moved here in March, there were people who were like, oh, we're going to have to say goodbye to the set. Oh, I don't really want the set to change. And now I've got all this room. I can put my arms out. Couldn't do that on the old set because it was crunched into a corner. And, I'm in the best room in the house. It's the coolest. You know what? And when people say, oh, look, he's stuck in the basement. It's the coolest room in the house. It's fantastic. It is so nice that when it's 30, 35 degrees outside, Celsius, not Fahrenheit, and, upstairs they're just roasting. And down here it's nice. I can wear a jersey. I can wear pants. I don't sweat. The worst is I might turn on my fan, but normally I don't have to. It's fantastic. I highly recommend living in the basement to everybody. And it's honestly, the funny thing is, I'm in my 40s and it's the first time I've ever lived in a basement because I lived in a trailer growing up. I know it shows, doesn't it? And then I had an apartment after I graduated. I went from apartment to apartment. I lived in a trailer park in between apartments. And then we lived in another apartment, which was split level, but the room downstairs was all storage. We lived there for almost 20 years. And then I moved in with my wife, and that's a townhouse, so no basement there. So now we're in a house. There's a basement, and it's fantastic. So yeah, I've graduated to the basement. I'm moving up by going down. It's fantastic. So when I see those kinds, like, oh, look at this guy in his basement. Yeah, I've waited for the basement. I've wanted the basement. When I was a kid and I'd hang out at my friend's house, and this was with military PMQs, private military quarters, and they'd be in the basement. I'd be like, you've got it, great. And then there was no walls. It wasn't made up. There were spiders and bugs everywhere, but they'd have a TV in the corner, and you couldn't hear the parents upstairs, which meant the parents couldn't hear you downstairs. So it was fantastic, and it was cool. Again, roasting hot outside. Well, we'll go to, Billy's house and head to the basement because his room's in the basement. Oh, it's so nice down here. We can play hockey in the basement. We can, whatever we want to do because there's nothing down here to break. You got a water heater and a furnace. That's it. Just stay away from those. Yeah, the whole living in the basement thing, I think it's overblown. I think we should all aspire to live in basements. I think that's the goal. Now in the winter, it's going to be kind of cold down here, but that's a whole other problem. At least I can layer up. When you're really hot, you really can't do a whole lot. It's more of a pain in the heat. So yeah, as a YouTuber, I know I'm open to this, and I know it's not going to change. I know there are still going to be people who think they own me because I've supported you for X amount of years, so I have certain rights. There are going to be people who get overly familiar with me on social media because they feel like they've watched videos from me every day, so they know me, and they don't. There are a lot of things people don't know about me because I don't talk about it online. I learned very early, don't talk about your personal life. Anything in your personal life, keep it away from YouTube. Never mention it. Just don't talk about it. So, people know I have a wife because she's in my videos. We've got 3 kids at home. A lot of people don't realize that. And my son wasn't mentioned on the main channel for years because I learned. I'm like, you know what? Just keep it out. Just keep it as professional as you can. Be accessible, be friendly, be yourself is the most important thing on YouTube. If for people starting out, be yourself. And don't try to copy anybody else and what anybody else is doing. So don't watch a bunch of other channels and go, oh, I'm gonna write notes down. And it's delivery. I took drama in high school. It was the only thing I got an A in grade 12 was drama. I think I had an A in first semester of English. I think I had an A in grade 12. And other than that, it was all B's, C pluses, and C's. And it was drama / acting, which I got the A in. And, that was my thing. So in terms of getting into being a YouTuber. It was kind of natural for me because it's always been there. The performer's always been there. Anytime we had a talent show at my old church, I'd be like, yeah, I'll do it. What are you going to do? I don't know. I'll figure something out. And like 10 minutes before I went on, people would be like, so what are you doing for your, I don't know, I'll do some kind of a monologue. Do you have a script? Nah, I don't need a script. And then I go out and I talk about whatever I just be one of the biblical characters for about 15 minutes. There'd be a clock right there and I'd be like, all right, I'm going to take like 10 minutes. So I'd get into a character, just biblical character from what I knew. And then I would just be that character for 10 minutes. Usually the crowd would be like, wow. And then I come off the stage, people are like, hey, where did you get that? And I'm like, I don't know. I just did it. I had one where I portrayed myself as a character who had been in church, and as a teenager he'd fallen out of church, and he got into a world of drugs and crime, and he ended up going to juvie, and then he was saved, and he came back from that, and the turning point was before he went to juvenile hall, and he was at a 7-Eleven, and there was a robbery, and he'd accidentally shot somebody, and like all of this stuff. And then after, I actually had a little kid come up to me and go, did you shoot somebody at a 7-Eleven? No, I didn't. But the fact that this kid bought it, I'm like, it's not bad, because that was all improv, which is why I still don't use a script. So many people saying, you got this fact wrong. Yeah, I did. But it's me. And in essence, I think that the dividing line and the trick I found with YouTube is, and I think this is, and I'll go back to the Jaclyn Hill thing. As an example first, Jaclyn Hill comes out and goes, hey guys, my cosmetics are coming out, be really nifty. If you guys bought my lipsticks, they're going to be great. Well, she knows, and it's come out, she knew beforehand they were going to be defective on some level, or old, or something was wrong. The fact that every color had the same lot number on the bottom, that doesn't happen. Any reputable company won't do that. And I think I've talked about this in other videos, but I'll talk about it here because there's other people who might have looked at that and gone, lipstick, whatever. When I worked in a meatpacking plant, to have everything have the same PLU would be ridiculous. And it would be like if everything had the same PLU, there was no times on anything. So you'll have instances where an inspector will go into the back and go, hey, I just scanned this and I tested this and it's no good. Well, if we all have the same PLU and you can't see the times, then everything gets thrown away, right? So because you have different PLUs for different products, and because you have all of these other ways of telling what's what, when it was made, and how, you can narrow down, okay, this is a bad batch. And you can throw away, and we used to do that, throw away a bad batch. It happens. And otherwise you have to throw away everything. And in her case, they told her, hey, there's a bad batch, and she went, okay, I'm going to shut everything down. And she stopped, which is meaning to say that she kind of knew something was going to be wrong. And then when it was, she buggered off. Which means that the person she was in her videos was a lie. It was a lie. It had to be. If something happened, let's just say something happened tomorrow, and I switched vocations. I got a new job. I did something else. I would still make hockey videos. If I couldn't make money making hockey, I'd still make hockey videos. Because I love making hockey videos. No matter what, I would still make hockey videos. If she loved the whole beauty community, she'd still be making beauty videos. And she wouldn't be hiding from this. So there's a fake side of this that it doesn't sit well with me. And there's other creators that I watch on this channel and I think they're too chipper, too over the top, they're too wacky crazy. And I'm talking the big ones. I'm not talking any direct competition with what I do on my main channel. I'm talking some of the big ones that I watch them and I go, this is so fake. And I can't get into it because I'm like, this is just, ugh. Yeah, and some of the big ones. And I know. So when there's scandals involving those people, I think, well, yeah, because that's not really who they are. With me, this is who I really am. 100%. If I wasn't being genuine, it would have come out. There's over 5,000 videos on my main channel, and there's 500 on this one. That's over 5,500 videos where if something wasn't genuine, it would have come out already. It would have come out. And, do I need to lose weight? Yep, that's why this is that's why this is here, and that's why I'm monitoring it every day, and I'm getting it done, because the reality is that if I don't, I'm heading I'm heading in a direction that I don't like. My father was 60 years of age when he passed. I want to live a nice long life, and I intend to do so. So in order to do so, I've got to do my working on here, because cardiovascular helps with the heart, and the heart is the tricky part in my family. That's the area you've got to watch for. It wasn't what killed my dad, but it didn't help. By my age, he was already in pretty rough shape. He could not have been on a treadmill like I am. He couldn't have done meetups like I'm doing at my age. There's no chance. I don't know if he could have done it in his late 20s. So, there's a lot of factors in that, and I'm well aware of what I need to do and who I need to be. But with me, it's as genuine as it can get, while making sure that the personal side of things stays out of it as much as humanly possible, because that to me is important. And we'll see where it goes. Yeah, it could all fall apart. Yep. But what's funny to me is when people will say, well, this channel's doing this, so it's going to get bigger than yours. And if my channel stalled and I was facing the possibility of having the exact same amount of view counts, the exact same amount of income 3 years from now as I'm making now, that's fine with me. That doesn't bother me in the slightest. I don't have this. It's nice to see numbers going up. As long as they're not going down, you're doing something right. But at the same time, at some point it'll level off, and at some point there'll be a dip here and there. There'll be some bad times here and there, and you got to roll with it. So I'm doing my best to do that. Anyways, there you go. There's my discussion for today. If you sat through this all the way, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. It's greatly appreciated. Time is money, and I understand that. But I also, when I'm not doing videos, when I'm not here being this guy, whether it's entertainment guy or hockey guy or whichever persona I've got going, it's me. It's still me. I don't have the energy for well, I've got a little more energy now, because I've noticed since I've been on the treadmill, I've had more energy for the rest of the day. But I don't have the energy to be fake. Not that much. I really don't. And I think it gets found out. Yeah, you can build up millions of subscribers. You can get big and famous on here. But if it's fake, it gets found out. It doesn't always lead to a channel's downfall either, though. But it definitely hurts the brand, and it hurts you going forward. But anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happen upon this video. And if you're new to my content, welcome. Thank you very much. And I've prided myself again on one take, no script, and just being as genuine as I can be, and not allowing any kind of bias to get in there. The accusation's there. It's always going to be. There's nothing I can do about it. Nothing I can do about it. I can talk about how I've got a Patrick Roy picture right there from Montreal, and how I think he was the greatest goaltender of all time, even though I'm a Bruins fan. And I'll still have people saying, yeah, but you hate Montreal, so you'll never give him credit for anything. Really? Because I'm pretty sure in '86 they knocked out the Bruins, because they did it every year. But yeah, sure. Right. Yeah. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's greatly appreciated. You guys help make this work. I'll talk to you again soon.